Me. Washington.
I was waiting. I'm gonna use the board here, so bear with me. I'm recording myself. Where's the board? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of go backwards for a second because I want to address. I talked with these ladies earlier, and I did give them a kind of like the worst case scenario, what I had to deal with. I had to deal with an eviction, but I want to break down some numbers for you guys. And I'm gonna put you guys in my personal business for a little bit. Act like you don't remember it later, okay? Okay. So my mortgage is $1,500. I think I started off, it was $1,792. When I moved in, it was $1,792, and I refinanced 1 year later. I was able to refinance quickly because I lived in my unit. Okay, so now it's $1,500. I charge this much for my first floor tenant.
Needs a better marker. I can't even see it.
I do, I'm sorry. Let me see this one.
I think these work better.
Okay.
Run these.
Let me know if you guys can't see it. Oh.
All up in your camera. Okay.
So I charged that much for the first floor. See where I'm getting at? Okay, I started with the first floor. How much was she? She was paying this much. Now, Wendy might not like this part, but I needed to get her out. I started out with my first floor. She was my first break-in as a landlord, right? I became friendly with her, and I'll tell you why later in my story. Find yourself in my story later. But she started off at $900, and I needed to get her out. I felt like she was trying to scam me every time I wanted to collect rent. Something happened, right? So, I'm trying to remember which property manager was it, probably the second one. We posed the idea to go up on the rent if she wanted to. She was out of lease by this time, so I had an advantage. So we was like, okay, let's go up on the rent. Either that's gonna make her leave or that's gonna make her up the ante. Either way, I win. Well, she says, oh, you're such a good landlord. I was saying, oh, okay, cool. Remember, that's my mortgage. She's paying most of my mortgage.
Right.
So then the second floor tenant, the eviction lady. With her, I did this much. Why? Because it was something, I think the gas was tied, from the second floor was tied to the basement. And because I had a laundry downstairs, I went down $100 on her. So that's the second floor. But fake like the pandemic didn't happen, right? We're gonna go there. So this is $2,300. The only reason why the third floor doesn't have income, oh, let me be clear, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. The only reason why this doesn't have a price is why. I'm house hacking. That's what we call it, investors time. But if I was, that time, I would have did this much. You're talking about $3,800. Let's do some math here. 38 minus 15, 2,300. That's how much
Cash flow.
Yes. So, yes, I told you guys my eviction story, and I'm actually honored that I had that happen early on because it taught me such a great lesson. One of you guys said it. It was like a lesson for me. It's my best teacher, right? So, I'm gonna leave that there for a moment because I want to be clear. Now, like Wendy said, it's not all about the money. It will come, especially with the right tenant. But it's just another way when you get into investing, it's the way to look at your capital. Well, is this worth it? Is it worth it? Right? So where I'm at now, everybody's out the building. I got rid of this one, property manager. This is my hardest tenant. He came in out of nowhere and asked her to leave. She leaves. It took me 3 years? Okay, man. Second floor tenant eviction, my first eviction. Went through the whole process during the pandemic. I don't know if you got my text message, but I was telling the group I had started a landlord's meeting because in my beginning days I was so raw, I didn't have enough information. So Kareem was part of the landlord group. And I actually sat at her feet a lot. She was the resourceful one that went to the CAPS meetings and so forth that I was telling you guys about. But I evicted her, and this was during the pandemic, right when they were getting ready to think about lifting. That's when they were getting ready to open the sheriff's office. My lawyer team, oh my God, they came in and they swindled her the way she swindled us. We got in there, we went in as an emergency eviction because they took down 2-3 doors in my property. I literally heard them fighting one day, and I heard a big bam, and I'm like, something happened, and I'm like, I never knew what it was. And to find out, I go down for an inspection. She was making complaints about, oh, let me come and check and see. Let's see what's going on. I'm taking pictures all over the place. Doors down, so I asked for an emergency eviction. So my attorney gets halfway through the court case, you're like this, and he says, Your Honor, can we take a recess? I want to try to work out a deal with the tenant. And I'm mad, I'm fuming. I want to work out no deal? What you mean? Let's get them out. So he says, Ms. Washington, listen. This is the best way we can go because they may not get her out from an emergency eviction, but let's make an arrangement with her to be out for a month. Let's have her sign it in front of the judge. She signed it. That was all she worked. We got back to court. Okay, what's an update? She was like, the judge said, are you out? She was like, no. And then he was like, why? This is all he wanted to know. She was like, well, because I didn't get a chance to move out, and my kids, he was like, ma'am, I'm sorry, I really am. He was like, well, what, I thought you were leaving out anyway, and you made an agreement. Remember that agreement? Well, I don't know the judicial system, and all this other stuff. And he was like, ma'am, I'm sorry, I really am, but you gotta go. She got out. I got that green sticker on there. They can't even come back in. She even tried to come back in, wanted to get her stuff. This was the first time ever in my life I seen sheriffs come around that corner. That eviction process, let me be clear, it's a little traumatic, but it's in your favor. Just remember that. And they come around the corner, it's a whole procedure, and they got bat rams and everything. And like, they mean business. I didn't even think anyone was in there because you would figure if you're going through eviction, you gotta leave, you're gonna go. Oh no, they didn't go. She came out here all over her head, everything. But I got my keys back. And then she tried to come in and then was like, oh no. I have that green sticker. I still got that green sticker. This was 6 months ago. You ain't squatting nowhere in my building. It said that. You ain't going nowhere. So we are protected. And that gives a little bit of hope in this time. But anywho, now that I said that, I hope it gave you guys some context. I wanted to go backwards and introduce myself. My name is Unique Washington. And I'm changing my title from the baby landlord to the baby investor. And Wendy made a mistake by inviting me to this investor mixer. I swear, you guys gotta go to one of them, I swear. I came out on fire. It was like, I felt like the bottom of the totem pole, but my goodness. But anywho, I started from very, very humble beginnings. She knows my journey, she was with me in it. So, my name is Unique Washington. I didn't start out in the projects, but I lived on the west side of Chicago. I think I was 11 when we moved to the projects. And when we moved to the projects, they were giving out Section 8 vouchers because UIC was about to take over. It had been right around the corner. I lived on Racine and Roosevelt. Sorry. Back in the days when there was a Jewtown, Maxwell Street. Those are the projects where we stayed at. So they offered us Section 8.
You didn't have to be on a waiting list or anything.
Let me tell you something funny about that question. So individually, I was actually on my own Section 8 waiting list. But because they were tearing down a project, they gave us 3 different, I'm sorry, Now, they gave us 3 different options. Scatter site, you can wait for them to build the new complex and come back, or Section 8. So everybody in my area was like, I don't know about Section 8, I heard they kick you all out the year. Me and my mom was like, we go. Let's take the voucher and go. I left so quick. I went to do my mom's paperwork for her. I had my voucher before her because I was on her lease. Time to go. You don't have to tell me twice, right? So I got an outline here just to make sure I stay on task. But that's my how. How long was I on Section 8? 2018. It started what? I think it's between 1998 and 1999. 2018, I bought my first property. We're talking almost 20 years. Let's be clear, 20 years. It's something that mentally happens. So it's not just that I got to this point, but mentally I had to battle a lot to get there, a lot, right? I had different landlords. I noticed different landlords and their patterns. And I always kind of studied my landlords. I had one. My first landlord was a horror story. He was all money. I don't understand how my voucher was allowed in his unit. It looked like they pulled up the carpet and just left it. It looked like he was jumping heat from the 2nd floor. I was cold often. I was in that place like 3 months. It didn't even last. And then he had the nerve, his name was Rick Simmons, I'll never forget. I got out of that place quick, right? And even though I was happy, I had my own vouchers, it's time for me to be on my own, away from mom. You know, that was my first unfortunate story. And then there was Brandy Sanders, and that's when I started to learn the landlord style that I like. Freddie Sanders he was nice, let's say that. Very pleasant to work with. He didn't fix up much as he could have, but very pleasant guy. From Freddie Sanders, that was on the west side. I moved to the south side, 2002. And that's when I moved to Woodlawn. And I got introduced to Woodlawn. I feel like I stayed in Woodlawn like 12 years, but like on and off. I was going Dorchester, Blackstone, then Kenwood, St. Baptist Reverend Braden Church. So that's where I also got my property. So, and on the south side, the owner's name was Gerald. I forgot his last name. But I almost felt like, was he a kin to Rick Simmons? Because you could tell a couple of them was in it for the money and nothing else. No relationships, no nothing. And for me, it was all about the impact. And I'm just being honest. It was all about the impact because I didn't want to be treated like a number. Unfortunately, I was, right? So there was that. And then there was D&M management with like a mom and son, and they ran the property. And it was raining in my sunroom. So, and I had to call Section 8, and the owner came over crying, I can't believe this. Well, I told you 10, 15 times. It's raining in my house. Like, what do you want me to do? I called everything a house. Bear with me. It was an apartment, though. And that was in Woodlawn. And then I moved to Bronzeville. Okay, here's where my story technically began in terms of influence. I thought she was going to be here, but she's not. But oh well, we'll roll with it. This was my second to last landlord named Elmira Thomas. And then my story started unfolding. Until then, I loved to watch shows like HGTV. I would walk around Bronzeville and see all these houses with the circular stairs. And I could look, oh my God, I was a house stalker. I literally was, like. Didn't think any of it. First thing happened to me when I moved in this lady's building. I stayed 3426 South King Drive. First thing happened to me is she says, I don't understand her psyche. I still ask her to this day. She said, you want to buy the building? I'm like, I'm on Section 8. What? How much, Elmira? She was like, $300,000. I'm like, how do you expect me to get this deal for $300,000 and somebody else is paying my rent, right? So that started our dialogue. This woman literally became a mentor. She became like a family member. And remember, I like the idea of impact, a relationship with the landlords. Not that we have to be bubbly, but don't treat me like a number. From there, she mentored me and schooled me on how real estate works. I don't know what was in this lady's mind, but she told me, she's like, I got a property on 83rd. I always forget where it is. I got a property on 83rd, and let's just say Princeton. We're gonna make up something. She said, I paid $5,000. She said, I put a Section 8 tenant. She was all Section 8. She only, to this day, she only does Section 8. $5,000 she bought for this. It was a row house. You guys know there are private row houses you can buy. $5,000 she paid for it. The rent at the time, I'm gonna say $1,200. Look at how many months it takes just to pay that off. I mean, let's do the math, right? She said, I done made double. Let me tell you what she did with this tenant, Section 8 tenant. This is just how hard. I really desire to be like her. I'm not lying. I guess she felt my energy and how eager I was, even though I didn't have the resources, because she poured into me. I mean, she poured heavy into me. She said with this tenant, and this actually happened, she told her, if you take over the property for a year, anything needs to be fixed, you pay for it, you buy it, I'll give it to you. She done made triple, quadruple. She done made that money back. She said it went either way. She did that. She did just that. I met every tenant she has, by the way. She just taking me under her wing. I'm going to see the property on the north side. $7,000. Same situation, but those over there, let's be clear. Section 8 called an opportunity area. She paid $7,000 for that unit. Right now, because she still has it. No lie, she makes this much a month from Section 8. It's an opportunity next to it. I didn't. 3,800 she gets for rent from Section 8. I was like, I didn't even know Section 8 could pay that much. She was like, an opportunity area. It's triple.
So when you say opportunity area,
so like they deem it a nice neighborhood. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, like the higher end areas,
Yeah.
Beverly, Gold Coast,
Yes.
West Blue,
Yes.
Presidential Towers,
Yeah.
those will be considered opportunity areas, and they'll, Section 8 will pay triple, because you have to pay triple in order to qualify areas.
Yeah. And even as a tenant, I knew even outside of that, they paid certain resources for it. Any tenant moving in it. They had like a bus tour you could do. They pay your security deposit if you moved in the opportunity area. All kinds of benefits you had to do so. So she started schooling me. Her sister was a realtor and a teacher, part-time teacher, right? And do you guys remember, I don't want to date myself, do you remember on 12th and Roosevelt when those high-rises weren't even there? I think it was still like a hotel on the corner of State and Roosevelt. There was no high-rise there. She stayed in one of those high-rises. The kind you walk in and it's like it's only missing the piano player style. I was like, wow, Congress can do this? You walk up to the window and it's like you're gonna fall out the window, floor to ceiling windows. Gorgeous. God was exposing me all over the place. I had no idea. I'm thinking, oh, this is Section 8. This little old me. So actually she moved, she sold that place. And now she's downtown. I don't know if you guys know where Dave and Buster's is, like off of Clark. She's in those homes now. But she has multiple properties. My son actually helped her renovate and paint a lot of those. And so she cut her budget by having like teens help her paint. And it really impacted my son, because now he helped me with mine. Oh my, I can paint this, I can do this, I can do that. Oh sure, let's go, get our hands dirty. Sure, let's bring that capital down.
gives him extra money and it pours into him too.
Yes. So, though I was though I was a Section 8 tenant, I was being surrounded by so many things, and I want to go back and talk about you guys who said my happily ever after didn't work. So, because I can attest. Section 8 had a program called FHA. Guys, I'm so visual. I'm sorry for writing all this stuff down. I'm a visual person, so I teach how I want to see it. They had a program called FHA inside of Section 8, whereas if you save money, they will match what you save. Mine's got up to $10,000. I was married at this time. $10,000, so over $10,000. First thing I think about, I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. Oh, we can get that place across the street. It's a 6-unit. The hubby at the time said, that's too much. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's just too much. And we don't need this. We don't need that. We don't need that. Subconsciously, that money came and went so quick, first of all. It came and went so quick. It's like, it disappeared. It moved out of my hand, and I was just like, but I was so sad about that because I really, really wanted that property, right? And at the time, the 6 units, now that I know now with my unit, for one, let me be clear, I have a 3-unit, I didn't even pay $3,000 for my down payment as a first-time home buyer. That's less than my income tax check. I didn't pay $3,000. And I'll tell you about that story in a minute, but when he told me, no, it's not gonna work, blah, 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 for some reason, subconsciously, that stuck with me. To the point where now when I thought about getting into real estate, it was, I just want a house. I never knew that, I never realized that it was talked out of for the actual property until around these days. Now I was like, wow, real estate was always in my face. And I'm thinking I just bought a property. It was always signs pointing. So got 10,000. It came and left with you. It disappeared out of my hands. I don't know if somebody stole it, whatever. But so I decided to, okay, well, I'm going to look for a house because now I'm starting to contract, right? I'm starting to get into the IT field like I've always wanted to do. I'm starting to make money, right? I know in a minute Section 8 is going to come for me. And let me tell you guys how I was able to save this money, because I did save another $10,000 again. I was able to save it because I was talking to my caseworker, and they had just implemented the I don't want to see you for 2 years to recertify, right? So I'm like, wait, 2 years? Okay, I heard it, went in one ear and out the other. So I got a contract position for IT desktop support position, and I go to Section 8. I'm like, okay, here's my check stuff. So I'm ready to, do my interim. Interim is what you do if something changed throughout the year between the time you recertify. So I was like, okay, here's my money. She was like, Miss Washington, I don't want to see you. I was like, wait, skirt? What? She's like, I don't want to see you for another year. I said, what? I don't have to claim this? She was like, no, it's every 2 years for a reason because we're saturated. There's too much going on. We have to expand the times. I don't want to see you for another year. That's all she had to tell me. You mean I can stack all this money? And so by the time I recertify, y'all get ready to kick me off the program or graduate me anyway, I don't want to ever come back to this. Amen. It helped. It was a stepping stone. But 20 years, that's long. I'm tired of the system after this. So I'm just being honest, right? So I was stacking my money. I don't know if you guys ever watched Girlfriends back in the day, but Tony had a fun called Never Going Back to Fresno Fun. Her husband found out. It was like, you had $50,000 stacked up here too. She's like, that's for me. That ain't for you. I'm never going back to Fresno. So I had to never go back to Section 8 fund. Because while it was great, while it was a stepping stone, there was parts of it that I was like, it's a stepping stone. After so long, it's like you kind of become conditioned to that environment instead of like, for instance, when it's time for me to get a house, or so I thought, everybody's like, no, you got Section 8 voucher, keep that. And I'm like, are y'all crazy? want to graduate. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay stuck. It's also a mentality. What if everybody around me, it shocked me. Everybody around me, no, what if this happened and what if this? No, I don't live off fear. If God isn't telling me it's time to go. 20 years, I'm tired. Let's go. So, I saved my money and saved my money, and now we're in 2014 to 2018. In between the time, I started calling realtors. Well, let me start looking for a house. I don't know how I forgot. I know how. I don't know if you guys pay attention to how. I forgot all about it. Owning the house. I ended up finding out about this Wendy Lee. She's all over social media. I was like, let me ask this lady. So we're talking, right? Me and Wendy Lee are on the phone talking, and I'm just telling her, I'm going to get a house. I'm about to graduate Section 8, leave Section 8. Well, when they recertified, ready to get a house. And I was diligent, right? I started looking for houses myself. It's time to go. And Wendy said, what? Oh my gosh, she don't even know how she impacted me. She said, yeah, she just having a casual conversation like she did. And she was like, yeah, and I have a client who feels like they're gonna get a building and it'll pay for the house. That resonated with me. But I ignored it. I was like, yeah, house. So I just want my own space, right? And so that stuck with me for a year. But during that journey, I went looking for houses and everywhere. We actually started the process. I don't know what dissipated it, but we started the process and somehow it stopped. Then before you know it, God starts putting all these people around me that are owners, landlords. Until one day, I didn't even pay attention to my circle of what the message of the sign was. Until the guy said, repeat off of Wendy, didn't know her from Adam at all. Never met anything. He's talking to us and he's about to counsel us on getting our first house. And the other guy said, he said, so he asked the other guy in front of me, he says, so if you had a choice, would you get a building or would you get a house? And he said, a building. He said, why? He said, a building to pay for the house. Wow. She just said that a year ago. She just said that a year ago. I hadn't even remembered that was my ultimate goal in the beginning of it. I didn't even realize that. But remember that naysayer. But it was the right time. It was about the timing, let's say that, because I rather had done it now than fight for that building in court later during my divorce. Exactly. So let's give each other perspective. Wow. Right? So he say that, and that was it. I can't wait this. But now I want to do this. And movement. Things got to moving fast so quick. Wendy is amazing, guys. I had every question in the world. She went in there so smooth. I don't know if realtors are normally supposed to be like this, but she was telling me, okay, make sure you're gonna tell you see that thing right there, you want to make sure you do that. And okay, good. I thought that realtors just want to get in, get out, get the transaction happen, and that's it. But she was like my advocate at the same time, my mentor, and she labored for me. The first property we saw was the property I had, right? And I kept saying in my head, I heard they were supposed to buy the first place you get or whatever but somehow or another, no other place worked out. We were looking everywhere, and this property, 6016, stayed on my heart to the point where it woke me out of my dreams, because Wendy came back and she was just like, okay, I know we're looking at this, but just want to let you know this is the movement going on with 6016. What's going on is they dropped it this much, and if you want to make an offer, you want to move. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I should just go and do that. And I woke up out my sleep. I think I called her 6 a.m. in the morning, like, let's do something right away. Right away. And so it was 6016. And people like Elmira helped. The circle of friends. When I started paying attention to it, it was just like hi. It was just like everything surrounding me was a message. Everything around me was just a sign, guys. So pretty much that's my story. Anything else is little small trinkets that I can share with you if you want. But about this investors meeting that she invited me to, it was an investors mixer, and I was invited to it. I didn't know anything in terms of what it would be like. I'm like, okay, investor, yes, that's the direction I'm going. Let's go. And I got here. Well, first of all, I almost didn't make it. I'm gonna say that. I almost didn't make it, and it took Wendy to say, "Hey, Unique, are you still coming?" And there was a lot of things pressing me for time. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna try to make it because I kind of flake out, what we call flake out on Wendy sometimes. So I'm gonna make it to this one. And when I say being around people who have went through everything everybody here has been through, I was amazed. And I told my first Section 8 property owner testimony, and I felt so insecure because I'm like, everybody in here is like they real live investors. They got money. I come with my little story, and I'll never forget Jordan. At the end, he was like, "Yeah, I liked everybody's stories, but yours was so raw and organic." And that's heavy to have come from those heights and been focused, and even not paying attention to in the beginning. It took one naysayer to say it wasn't going to work, and that totally shifted my mind. I thought I was looking for a house, and then when that guy said that, and Wendy, it was all coming around full circle. All these signs that was there, and it was like, I got it, property owner. That's what I'm gonna be. Yeah. I told you guys a little bit about the disheartening, unfortunate situation, but what I didn't tell you is that I think out of those 3 years, I only had to pay my full mortgage twice. Let's do the math here. Yes, there are, I was in the eviction and stuff like that, but I only had to pay twice. I know Wendy was like, "Hey, shut up. You're good." Because I'm like, she's so calm. I'm here suffering. No, you're not. They did knock on my door. They don't knock on my door. They never did. Thank God. And those experiences helped to shape me. And yes, after the first year, I was like, I want a property manager. I can't take this. And the first property manager was an epic fail. And I could have stopped then. And I could have been like, no. The second one, they each got better. The second one was better. But then COVID happened. That one kind of cut out. Like, no. If you're not getting income, I don't want to sit here and take your money for something I'm not doing. It's like, I can respect that. Yeah. The third one, oh my God, he came in making changes. This man even was pulling my flooring up with me. God sent. I'm like part of the family now. And when it's time for me to get tenants, he's gonna vet them, and he is as meticulous as I am. But as well, I'm coming behind him, and I'm vetting too. Yeah. So it's a teamwork, but we kind of, everything that happened with the tenants, we kind of went over. He kind of just wanted to see my ideas, what I think about that. I like the personal property managers, just being honest. I like those. I was thinking about the big companies. I didn't like the idea of someone taking my rent. I want my own rent. Let me keep my rent, and then I give you your fees. So that's why I like the personal ones. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's my story. Any questions? Sure. Go ahead.
Oh wait. So the properties here, the ones that you listed for like 5,000, 7,000, 10. Those were going. That was how much the property was.
Yes. I'm still looking for those. That was back in
quite that cheap now.
Yeah, then nowadays probably not, but still that difference makes a lot. Even if it's 12,000, it's like, think about it. You'll make that in less than a year.
And these were already made?
Yes. These were row houses. Think of row houses. Upstairs, downstairs, townhouses. Yeah. Think of those. You can buy those privately. Not the governmental ones. Oh, but like they have private ones you can buy. One on 83rd and one up north. Whereas, that's people on the side, but you own that slate. And think about it. There's not much you have to manicure. There's not much upkeep you have to do except for inside the unit if a need. But if she was getting $38,000 and she bought it for $7,000.
Wow.
And
But-
this woman was trying to teach me everything she knows. I was like, I want to go, can I go? To this day, oh my God, I almost brings tears. She was like, I'm so proud of you.
Wow.
I had no idea of this vision. I just started making this full circle in my head because when you get things like that, these experiences happen. You're going with life. Life is going fast.
Yeah.
You don't really get a chance to sit and kind of ponder what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sit and thought about it, and I was going to bring you guys my vision board. I had a vision board, and I don't know why I was just thinking about going around telling people, it goes to your cause, just talking to people who've been in my situation. There is a way to get out. There is a way to advance. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay tied to the system where they're asking you everything and invading your privacy and doing all that. You don't have to be enslaved. You know what I mean? So, she exposed me. I had no idea. Remember, the first thing I said was, I'm Section 8. You know, and she exposed me to everything. Her other sister, I didn't mention, stayed by Mercy. And she had, I don't know, she's in a tall building, but she has an upstairs, downstairs. The upstairs oversees they all are in real estate. And she told me, though, she said, you know, if we would have partnered together, we would have been billionaires by now. Power Network. Hence the investors meeting. I was there like a little kid in the candy store. Can I go? Can I get your number? Can you mentor me? I've already reached out to Juan and Louise and everything. And now I'm thinking about pursuing my realtor's license, you know, so I can be doing my deals. No shame with you. I love you. You still gonna be there. My mentor. And then I wrote a book published by Shatrivia. And the next book is going to be called I already started it, guys. I could have had it by now, but you know, life happens. It's called From Section 8 to Property Owner. So I just want to put the word out to people who are in those situations, meek, humble situations.
That they can.
Yes, less than $3,000. Less than $3,000.
I think what it is fear. A lot of people fearful in making that move.
Yes.
And when you see an opportunity, take it. Take that opportunity. And I see, like, look in Englewood right now. It's an up and coming. Houses were going dirt cheap. There's somebody right across from where I have my building. She bought her house there for $12,000 about 10 years ago. So, and now it worth a lot more. So, so the thing is this, when you see that opportunity, like I was talking to this Hispanic man the other day that right on my block on Green, and he said, oh, I just bought this building right here. And when I was buying this building, somebody across the street told me, well, why don't you buy this one here too? And he bought two on that same block. Two properties. So that's the thing, not be afraid. Yeah, there's gonna be, nervousness and so on, but you don't be afraid because gradually, like when